What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Eric and this right behind me is my garage. Now in today's video what I'm gonna do is show you guys how to replace these spark plugs on your Infiniti G35 or 350Z. Now this is also going to apply to the Infiniti FX35s and pretty much all the VQ platforms as long as it's a rear wheel drive vehicle. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Now, I personally believe that this vehicle has never had these spark plugs serviced, so I think it's way overdue. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into the video. So the first thing that you want to do is disconnect your battery so that you don't mess anything up when you're disconnecting all the electrical connections in front of the coil packs. Now, as far as the spark plug, I'm going to be using the original manufacturer equipment, which is NGK. This is the part number right here if you're interested in purchasing it. I will also link this in the description below so that you guys can buy the original spark plugs that go to this vehicle. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the air intake out of the way. There is a clamp over there, and then there's a connection here for the mass airflow sensor that you need to remove. Don't forget to disconnect the hose in the back. And then once you do that, the air intake should be free. With the air intake out of the way, you guys can see that there's a lot more clearance. Now what we're going to do is remove some of these connections. And we're also going to try to move this wiring loom a little bit out of the way so that we can pop off the coil packs. Now there is a fastener that holds these guys down, and then there's an electrical connection as well. Be very careful because this plastic is pretty old, so you don't want to break it. Now what you do is remove the fastener that holds down the coil pack. So now you can go ahead and remove your coil packs now that you've loosened up the harness. Now that we got the 3 coil packs out, we're going to go ahead and remove the spark plugs. To get the spark plugs out, I'm going to use this magnet. To install them, I'm going to be using something differently so we don't damage them, but to get them out, this is what I'm going to use. So these are the spark plugs that I just took out of the vehicle, and as you guys can see, they're pretty worn out. The electrode is completely worn out. Now these are way past their replacement time, so we're gonna go ahead and replace these with some brand new ones. They're gonna be the exact same part number, and just for some fun and giggles, this is the old spark plug, this is the brand new one. You guys can clearly see there is no electrode on this one compared to the new one. But they are the exact same part number, so that means they will last a long time because these lasted this long. Now before you install your NGK spark plugs, what you should do is check the gap on them. They should come pre-gapped, but you never know. Now it's time to install these spark plugs onto the vehicle, but before you do that, this is a little trick that I like to do, and that is to get a spark plug and put it on a small rubber hose so that it doesn't fall off basically. And you're going to use this method to install them into the vehicle. This will prevent the electrode from getting damaged, and it works pretty good, so try it out. Once you guys have one side down, go ahead and move on to the other one. Don't forget to torque these guys to spec. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to this side. Now you guys can see that there's a few more things in the way, but it's actually not that bad. So start off by removing this bracket right here. There's also another fastener in the back right there that you want to remove. To also make it easier, I'm going to remove this other bracket right over here. And I'm also going to remove this electrical connection right here. What you guys could do is get a pair of pliers like the ones that I have right here, and just pinch this connection right over here, just to give you more slack basically. The last thing that I'm going to do is disconnect the hose that goes from the PCV valve. This is just going to make it easier for us to remove the coil pack, so we'll get it out of the way. So now that you came to this point, you should be able to remove the coil packs by removing that 10mm fastener that holds it down. It's a little bit crowded, as you guys can tell, but I assure you, once you do this, it's going to make it a lot easier to remove these coil packs. With the coil packs out, we'll go ahead and remove the spark plugs. This right here is the other set of spark plugs that I just took out. Very similar to the first set. They're covered up in oil and carbon, and the electrode is pretty worn out, which is okay because they're all the same. It would be alarming if one of them was different from the other, but it looks like the vehicle is running okay for the most part. So with the old spark plugs out, we'll go ahead and install the new ones by doing the same trick we did for the first side. Once we're done installing the spark plugs, we're going to go ahead and put everything back together by doing the opposite of what we did to take off the spark plugs. So now that we have the spark plugs in, the coil packs in, we're going to go ahead and put everything back together. So as you guys can tell, I did go ahead and finish putting everything back together. The car seems to be idling nicely with the new spark plugs. This is pretty much going to wrap up the end of the video. I hope you guys did find it useful. If you guys did, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace out.